this is Vicki Jervickas at the Greater Gainesville Chamber, and I'm the Director of Public Policy. I'm delighted to be joined today by Sarah Rockwell, one of our candidates for school board, and she is, I've got to take a peek, running in District 3. So we are delighted to meet you today, Sarah, and we're going to go through 5 questions with you and give you a chance for all of us to get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you so much for having me, Vicki.
All right, well, why don't we jump in right now with your opening, and then once you've had a chance to do that, we'll start with our questions.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Rockwell. I am a former special education teacher and a mom of 2 children with disabilities. I am also a longtime Gainesville resident. I've lived here more than half of my life, and I have deep ties to this community and care tremendously about our community and our public schools, because I believe that our schools are the foundation of a solid community and a functioning democracy. As a mom and a former teacher, I understand the difficulties that our public schools face from both the teacher's perspective and a parent's perspective. And that's one of the main reasons that I'm running for school board. I see that we have huge achievement gaps, both between our Black students and our white students, and between our students with disabilities and our students without disabilities. And I believe that we need to close those gaps by focusing on K-2 phonics instruction, by improving tutoring services in our after-school and summer school programs, and by improving our special education services. I also know that we have a huge teacher and staff shortage, and we need to work on that by making sure that our faculty and staff feel like they're being respected by their students, by community members, and by the school board. We need to make sure that our faculty and staff feel supported and not persecuted or censored. I also know that we have difficulties with collaboration and communication and transparency on the school board, and I want to improve those. I want to make sure that all of our community members, our students, our parents, our faculty and staff feel like they are part of our team and can come to us with their concerns. And most importantly, I want to protect and preserve public education. I want to make sure that nobody is trying to privatize our schools and profit off of our children.
Very good. Okay, well, I think this the questions I have for you today will let you expand on all of those ideas. So let's start with question 1, which is, what do you perceive are the 3 most important concerns facing our school district today?
So our most important concerns are filling our open positions. Again, we have huge faculty and staff shortages, and we need to address that. That's not just an Alachua County problem, it's a statewide and even nationwide problem that we need to address. Again, our achievement gaps, we need to close those gaps. We need to make sure that every child in our community is receiving an education that meets their needs and is reading on grade level. And we need to make sure that everyone feels like they're a part of our team. Our public schools serve our community, and so our community should feel like they're part of the decision-making process. And I think that's really important. And, you know, as a school board member, I want to have community office hours, not just at the district offices, but in various places in the community, coffee shops, parks, at different times. I want to be really accessible to my constituents. I want to listen to our teachers, make sure that they're getting supported in implementing district-wide behavior plans, and that they feel like they understand what they are, that they are supported in as curriculum experts and pedagogy experts and are able to teach in ways that meet their students' needs. They can adapt instruction to meet their students' needs. And I want to make sure that we have very high quality reading instruction in the early grades, because that's how we close these gaps.
Very good. I think that'll roll right in, one of your responses will roll right into the next question, which is, what is the role of the school board in the community?
So the school board sets policy and gives direction to the superintendent who runs our day-to-day operations. So we can be kind of a go-between between community members and our district level administration. And I think that it's really important, because we're the elected representatives of the community, that the school board be available to the community and listen to the community. And that doesn't always mean that every individual parent can get what they ask for, because we have, 270,000 residents in this county, and all of them have slightly different ideas of how to do things, but we should still be able to listen and have conversations, and as much as possible, reach consensus and compromise as a board when we're setting policy.
Okay, very good. What would be your top priorities and projects if you're elected?
So again, closing the achievement gaps is going to be my #1 priority. And I believe we need to continue our U-Fly program. But I think that our current Beyond the Bell virtual tutoring program is not the most ideal way to reach our most struggling learners. So I'd like to see the district have a partnership with local after-school care and summer school providers and with our EDEP programs, so that we train their staff in ways to tutor and help students who are struggling with their schoolwork and homework, and perhaps get some volunteers in to provide additional tutoring in addition to the staff. I also, as a former special education teacher, I see areas where special education programs are floundering. One of the big issues that I see compared to other districts is Alachua County doesn't have enough staffing specialists. So a staffing specialist is someone who's trained to sit in IEP meetings, help write the plans, make sure everything is compliant, inform all of the teachers of what's in the IEP. And right now we're giving that task to our guidance counselors, who already have a huge job helping our students with their mental health, especially as we've seen additional mental health issues related to the pandemic. And so I think we really need staffing specialists. We also have a huge backlog of evaluations. That means children who need special education services aren't getting them. And a way to alleviate that would be to have educational diagnosticians work side by side with our school psychologists. They can do the academic testing. Our school psychologists do the cognitive testing. And that reduces the workload on the school psychologists. And school psychologist shortages have existed for decades. That's always been an area that is in need. So, I think those are things that can really help us close our gap by getting special education services initiated. #2 is recruiting and retaining faculty and staff. And we have to prioritize pay, support, and respect. Especially teachers right now are nervous, they're scared. There's been a lot of legislation that we're not sure how it's going to impact the ways that we teach. And our teachers need to know that their union has their back, their superintendent has their back, and their school board has their back. We've also seen a lot of behavior problems related to the pandemic. And so we really need to address root causes of those. We can solve some problems by responding with punishment, but not a lot. We really need to go deeper to root problems, which means freeing up our guidance counselors to work with children who are struggling. It means making sure kids with learning problems get the supports and special education services so that they're not acting out because they're struggling academically. And it means making sure that, social services, that the school district is working with other community organizations to make sure that our families are getting the services that they need. So that's how we deal with that. And I think that was only 2 issues, but they're so complex and multifaceted, it feels like more. So
yeah, you covered a lot of ground for sure with that. Okay, the next question, and again, I think you've touched on it a little bit. There has been a significant amount of turmoil in the district and within the school board recently. How do you think that would be best addressed?
So some of the turmoil has been around our previous superintendent, and a lot of people were upset that an interim superintendent was made permanent without a search occurring. And even though I respect Dr. Simon tremendously and agree with the vast majority of her policies, I can understand the desire for more transparency and more opportunities for community input. And so moving forward, we have another interim superintendent now, and Mr. Shane Andrew is somebody who I, again, respect greatly, and I think he's already doing a fantastic job, but I don't think it is fair to our community to not have a search. I think it's really important that we have a search, that we have community input. And I think community input is going to be incredibly important moving forward. We have rezoning that needs to be tackled in our district. We have ESSER funds that require community input as we spend them. And we need to make sure that that community input is meaningful and that people really feel like we're working as a team with them. In the past, I think there's been some superficial input options like surveys, and people don't really feel heard by those. I also think there's been a lot of ego and infighting. And, you know, I think we need to set that aside and try to seek compromises when board members disagree about things. There's always going to be things that we disagree about, but arguing is not going to solve that.
Okay, very good. And then this final wraparound sort of question, which is, why should members of the business community vote for you?
So if you are a business owner and you want to have a successful business, you need to have employees who are competent and capable and ready to enter the workforce. They need to have the reading skills, the math skills, and the interpersonal skills to do their jobs. And our public schools are the foundation for all of those skills. And so we really need to have thriving public schools that are meeting our students' needs, that are making sure that we have a literate populace, a populace that has good mathematical foundations, and that have good social skills and emotional regulation skills. And these are all things that children learn at school. And, you know, when we have only 50% of our children proficient in reading, that's going to affect the capability of our workforce. So I think if we want to have thriving businesses and have new businesses coming up, have new entrepreneurial endeavors happening, we really need a well-educated populace, and that comes down to our public schools.
Very good. Okay, that was the end of my scripted questions. Now, if there's anything else that we didn't get a chance to cover or that you want to expand upon, the floor is yours.
Well, I just want to remind everyone that school board elections are countywide. So there are 4 school board seats up for election, and everyone gets to vote for all 4 school board members. These are nonpartisan races, so it doesn't matter how you are registered to vote. You can vote in the school board elections during the primary. The primary is on August 23rd. Early voting is the 2 weeks before that, and your mail-in ballots are going out now. And unlike in the past, they will not be in a solid pink envelope because there's a shortage of dye. So they will be in white envelopes with a pink edge trim. So it will be easier to miss them. So if you are expecting a vote by mail ballot, make sure you look carefully for that so you don't accidentally throw that away.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Sarah did a little bit of my job for me, which was to remind you that we at the Chamber are very committed to making sure everyone in our community's voice is heard. So we want you to get out and vote. We will have all the pertinent dates on our website. And of course, you can find them on the Vote Alachua website as well. And the primary is coming up quickly now, August 23rd, Tuesday. So please be sure to get out and use your right to vote. Thank you again so much, Sarah. It was a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you again, Vicki, for having me.